people must be in love with Eden Hazard.
Exceptional player, one by far. One.
The best players.
He's a really few really good players, but Eden Hazard, we don't have to talk about that.
Messi, Eden Hazard, you know, you say he's on fire.
The potential, the natural ability, and he's matured as a man.
Eden Hazard was once the most feared winger in the Premier League, but within a few years, injuries, pressure, and expectations turned his dream move into a nightmare. This is the rise, fall, and redemption of Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard was born on January 7th, 1991 in La Louvière, Belgium, into a family where football wasn't a dream. It was daily life. His father, Thierry Hazard, was a semi-professional footballer, his mother, a former Belgian women's international, and his home was filled with football conversations long before fame arrived. From the streets of Braine-le-Comte to youth pitches across Belgium, Eden stood out not because of strength or speed, but because the ball obeyed him. Coaches noticed something rare, a child who played with joy, instinct, and complete fearlessness. Even then, people said the same thing. He plays like he's having fun, not like he's under pressure. At just 14, Hazard left Belgium for France, joining Lille's academy, a bold move that tested his maturity and discipline. Many young talents struggle away from home. Hazard flourished. By 16, he had made his professional debut, and by 2008-09, he became the youngest player ever to win League One Player of the Year. He repeated the feat the following season. In a league filled with seasoned professionals, Eden wasn't just surviving, he was dominating games, gliding past defenders with balance and control that felt effortless. Journalists began calling him the future of European football, while teammates spoke of how training sessions stopped just to watch him dribble. By 2012, the football world was watching closely. Hazard had led Lille to a historic league and cup double in 2011, proving he wasn't just a flair player but a match winner. Europe's biggest clubs lined up, but one truth was clear: this was a superstar in the making. When he finally chose Chelsea, expectations exploded overnight. England was waiting. The Premier League was waiting. Hey. And Eden Hazard was about to step onto a stage where brilliance is either confirmed or brutally exposed. When Eden Hazard arrived at Chelsea in the summer of 2012, there was curiosity, but no one expected the impact to be immediate. Yet from his very first Premier League appearance, winning a penalty and setting up a goal, it was clear this wasn't a player who needed time to adapt. Hazard brought something England rarely saw, a dribbler who didn't rely on tricks, but on balance, timing, and intelligence. Defenders couldn't predict him because he didn't rush. He waited, tempted, then slipped past them as if they weren't there. Former teammates would later say, "You could give Eden the ball in impossible situations, and somehow he'd turn danger into control." Between 2013 and 2016, Hazard reached a level that placed him among the best players in the world. Under Jose Mourinho, he became Chelsea's main creative force and match winner, carrying responsibility without losing joy. The 2014-15 season defined his peak. Chelsea won the Premier League, and Hazard was named PFA Player of the Year. He scored crucial goals, created countless chances, and was fouled more than any player in Europe, simply because defenders had no other way to stop him. Mourinho summed it up perfectly. When Hazard plays, the game changes. This was football at its most expressive. Freedom mixed with efficiency. But what truly separated Hazard was consistency at the highest level. Big games didn't intimidate him, they invited him. Whether it was against Manchester City, Arsenal, or Tottenham, he thrived under pressure, often deciding matches on his own. Journalists began asking a serious question. Is Eden Hazard the most talented player in the Premier League? For years, the answer felt obvious. Stamford Bridge had found its king, a player adored not just for goals, but for the feeling that something special could happen every time he touched the ball. And yet, as his influence grew, a bigger stage was calling, one that would change everything. By 2018, Eden Hazard had reached a point where his talent was no longer a debate, it was accepted. At the World Cup in Russia, he delivered performances that reminded everyone why he was considered one of football's purest artists. As Belgium's captain, Hazard led not with volume, but with personality and courage on the ball. He dribbled through entire defensive lines, dictated tempo from wide areas, and stepped up in moments when the pressure was highest. Against Brazil in the quarterfinals, individual displays of the tournament, earning praise from players, pundits, and even opponents. Hazard was unplayable, many journalists agreed. Belgium's run to third place felt historic, but for Hazard, it represented something more, maturity. He was no longer just entertaining, he was leading. His decision-making had sharpened, his understanding of space deepened, and his presence elevated the entire team. FIFA ranked him among the tournament's best players, and global conversations shifted. The question was no longer if Hazard could succeed at the very top, it was where he would go next. Madrid, Barcelona, Paris. The football world waited. When Hazard finally spoke after the tournament, his words hinted at the future. I think it might be time to discover something else. The timing felt perfect. He was 27, in his prime, adored at Chelsea, and coming off the best international tournament of his career. The dream move to Real Madrid wasn't just logical, it felt inevitable. But football has a cruel way of rewriting expectations, because sometimes the transfer everyone celebrates becomes the moment everything starts to unravel. In the summer of 2019, Eden Hazard arrived at Real Madrid as one of the most expensive signings in the club's history. He wasn't just replacing a player, he was stepping into the shadow left by Cristiano Ronaldo. Expectations were enormous, and from the very beginning, the pressure was relentless. A preseason injury delayed his start, and just as he began to find rhythm, another setback followed. Match fitness disappeared, confidence faded, and the fluid movement that once defined him became harder to find. In Madrid, patience is rare, and Hazard felt it immediately. As injuries piled up, so did the criticism. Every missed game became a headline, every subdued performance a talking point. Social media turned ruthless, reducing a world-class career into memes and mockery. But behind the noise was a player struggling with his body and identity. Coaches spoke cautiously, teammates defended him, and Hazard himself remained honest. I wanted to succeed here more than anywhere. It wasn't a lack of effort. It was a cruel mix of timing, injuries, and the weight of expectation. The hardest part wasn't losing form, it was losing belief. Each return was followed by another setback, and the player who once played with freedom now carried hesitation. Madrid demanded excellence. Hazard was fighting just to stay fit. Football reminded everyone of a harsh truth. Talent alone is never enough. Circumstances matter, timing matters, and even the brightest stars can fade when the body no longer cooperates. Yet within this fall, something else was forming. Not a comeback of trophies, but a quieter kind of redemption. As reality set in, Eden Hazard faced the most difficult phase of his career, acceptance. The explosive dribbler who once danced past defenders weakly was no longer chasing individual dominance. Instead, he leaned into leadership, professionalism, and presence in the dressing room. Teammates spoke about his influence off the pitch, his positivity during tough periods, and the respect he commanded despite limited minutes. Redemption, for Hazard, wasn't about proving critics wrong. It was about understanding who he had become and embracing it with dignity. When his time at Real Madrid came to an end, the football world didn't remember him for injuries alone. It remembered the magic he once brought, especially at Chelsea, where he remains one of the club's greatest players of the modern era. His legacy with Belgium, too, is undeniable. A golden generation inspired by his creativity and courage. Former teammates often said the same thing. Eden made football fun. And in a sport that increasingly values efficiency over expression, that mattered. Not every legend ends their story at the peak. Some stories are remembered because they reflect the human side of greatness, vulnerability, struggle, and acceptance. Eden Hazard's career reminds us that footballers are not machines, and success isn't always measured by trophies. Sometimes, redemption is simply walking away with respect intact. Not every legend ends at the top, but Eden Hazard's story will never be forgotten. If this legend inspired you, hit like and subscribe so you never miss the next journey.